Flourish is an online tool that is free. Begoña, don't you mind sharing the link of Flourish so that the participants will log in into the platform? So I will explain you later how to log in, but it's you need to keep in your mind that there are two products that will be developed with Flourish. This is the workflow of using Flourish. Firstly, the visualization. The visualizations are the charts. I mean the bar charts, the donut charts, and then the stories. The stories are slides as PowerPoint, but you need to keep in your mind that firstly you need some visualization in order to include them all within a story. So we are going to create two visualization today, and then we include them all into a story, right? So you will see later that the interface of Flourish is very easy, it's very clean to work, and hold on. And I would like to ask you if you are ready to work. So let's move on to the workflow we are going to follow this afternoon. We are going to explore a data set. This data set has been made by us. So we use a public data from the report of the Observatory of Citizen Science in Spain. Then you are going to follow up the creation process. So I really encourage you to follow my steps in order to get some visualizations. So please, during this step, should you have any doubt, please do not hesitate to interrupt me or to ask me any question you have, right? And at the end, we are going to share our visualization, well, our stories, so that all the participants will know what you have made, right? So let's start firstly exploring the data sets we are going to use. So hold on, let me change my screen. Well, you got on the chat the link to the data set.
I put the chat, Alejandro.
Yeah,
so we should all open it, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to share it, so don't worry.
So we don't need to open it then for the moment, no?
Yeah, then when copy and paste the data, that's the main reason why we share it. But don't worry, I'm going to share everything. Okay, so this is the data set we are going to use. As you can see, this is an Excel file, but we are using Google Sheets because it's easier to share. So as you can see in this screen, there are several variables that we will be able to use to represent the data. So there are country, area, impact, participants, and age. So in this case, imagine that we have finished the second step I explained you, and we are ready to work with the tool, okay? In our case, we are going to work firstly with area, right, to make a donut chart, and then we will use impact in order to compare several years. Please be aware that the red ones, I embed them all so that we got more material to work, right? But these data are not real, it's fake. Okay, so please have in your computer this data set because it would be easier just for you to copy within Flourish, right? So let's move on to Flourish. Once you get into Flourish, you will see this screen. So to log in, I really encourage you to use Google, so that is easier just to log in within the application. During all this explanation, please feel free to ask me whatever. If you are lost or you have any doubt, open your micro or put it on the chat, and I'm following up everything, right? So in my case, I'm going to use Google, since I'm using this tool a lot, and this is the main interface of Flourish. probably in this space, you won't have anything since it's the first time you are working with the application. So these are folders and visualizations and stories for our projects. So as you can see on the top of the page, you will see the two products we will be able to make with Flourish. Firstly, the visualization and then the story. Remember that we need to create some visualization in order to embed them all within a story. So when we click in a visualization, as I told you, Flourish is a good tool since it got a lot of templates that would be great for our representation. I mean, for our data representation. So depending on what you got in your mind, you will probably choose one or another. So there are basic templates that are the one we are going to use this afternoon, since are the easier one. But imagine you had a set of data that include location information. You will be able to create, for instance, a map, right? If you explore some of our charts in our e-magazine, we got plenty of these visualizations so that you will get an idea of what is the power of this tool, right? Besides, there are more complex charts, for instance, this interactive chart that shows how images can change, and also a parliament. So this is a big tool, right?
Alex, can I just stop you for a second just to check what you want people to do and just to check if they've got as far as you want them to be. So far I've opened the data. So I've opened the Excel, well, from Google, and I've also opened Flourish, but of course it's asking me to sign in and to register. So is that what you would like us to do?
Yeah, register, please.
Okay, how's everybody else doing? Are we all getting there?
Yeah, there.
It's always a difficulty in online meetings like this to make sure we're all getting there.
Yeah, thank you, Sally.
Gary's there. I see other people are there. Brandon, Shireen, how are you doing? Claudia? Let's just check to see. Claudia's there, good. Lucy, Mariam, not sure if you're there yet. Hi, Miriam, good to have you join us.
Great.
If you want to switch on your mic and let us know how you're doing.
Here we go. I'm getting there.
You're getting there, good.
I'm getting there.
We're all involved in education in one sort or another. You know, this is where you're normally walking around the class and seeing how everybody's doing. So I think it's just good to see if we get everybody there, Alex, before you go too far into it.
Okay, thank you, Sally. So, well, it's important. I mean, as I told you, you just need to have the data set, since is the next step we are going to do. So we are going to do this afternoon two charts. Firstly, a donut chart and then a column chart, right? So you have to click into a donut chart. And this is the panel. I mean, this panel would be more or less the same for all the templates you will choose in the future. I mean, just only change the visualization, obviously. Always on the right, you will have all the setup options, and on the top, you will be able to put a title and to publish, right? So the first thing I want you to do is to put a title. The title is set on the top left. I mean, you see next to the house, that is untitled visualization. So please be aware that you need to be really concise, since then will we use it to create a visualization. So I'm going to name this as first chart workshop. And in this chart, we are going to use the data of, hold on, the area. So if you want to put area in the title, that will be great. Hold on, I must see the application.
Which, sorry, maybe I'm not the only one. Which type of chart did you choose for at the beginning?
Donut chart. The donut
chart. Okay.
Donut chart. Okay, so we are going to use the data to create a donut chart. So please put the title, and I'm going to explain you what are the basic instructions when developing a chart like this, right? So as I told you before, on the right, we got the setup option, but firstly, always when using Flourish, you need to upload the data so that Flourish know what kind of data you are going to use. So as you can see, there are data from years that this is fake data that Flourish use in order to represent the visualization. So on the top, you will see two sheets. One is preview that show you the chart, and then data that shows what data is Flourish using to represent this chart. So please click on data. Those sheets are connected. So if I delete, for instance, I'm going to delete two first row, right? So look how this change, right? Hold on, I don't know why this is not loading. Oh. Look, if I delete all the data, we do not have preview since there are no data, right? So we are going to copy and paste the data from the former Excel file I sent you. I mean the one from area. You have to select them all, copy, and paste it on the data side. Are you following me?
I think we need to check.
Okay.
Is anybody with you at the moment?
Once you copy, you will see that the preview change, right? And you will see the areas of the in this case the citizen science projects. So be aware that
I couldn't get into the areas in the Excel.
Into the what, Rauma? Sorry.
In the area section, it is A. It's column A. Let me see.
Yeah, you have firstly you have to delete the data that appears on this slide. So you can select them all with Control A if you got Mac, Command A, and then press delete.
All the data to delete.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then you have to copy the one I provide you and paste it here. Yep. Right? So, well, you got the option also to upload the data, but for us it's easier working in that way. But just you to know that if you press here in upload data, you will be able to upload an Excel file, right? At the moment, we are not going to touch this label and values since this is a basic chart, but keep in your mind that these, I mean, labels and values will select the column of the data that will be used to represent the data, right? So for now, leave it at this, and we are going to come back to the preview to set the chart. So in this moment, I'm going to explain you several options. So please feel free to set up and customize it as you want, right? So that then we will able to compare several kind of charts. So the first option we need to take into account is this one, the grid mode, right? We are now working into a single chart, and now we will see that a grid of charts make no sense since we just have one variable. As you can see, if we would have an extra column, we would have a grid of charts that will show several charts. Don't worry, but at the moment, just leave it at single chart, right? Then in the second example, we are going to work with grid of charts.
Sorry, Alex.
Yeah.
The donut chart I see, what you are sharing here is not the one that I got from the data set of the areas.
Have you copied this, Roma?
Yeah,
And you have to paste
I
it.
didn't get that. I get another one.
Okay.
I got from the areas something that.
Be aware that on the right side, the labels, I mean, on the data slide, you have.
Mostrando imágenes que
Sorry, that's Google. I don't know what's wrong. You have to write A on the label time and on values B.
Okay.
Shall we check around with other people, Alex, as well as Roma, just to see? I see there was lots of people okay in the chat saying yes.
Yeah, they
Claudia,
are writing
Dovi,
on the chat.
Shireen, are you as far as this, everybody? Yeah, Shireen's nodding. I see a nod.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Marianne's there, I think. Yeah, good. Okay, just shout if you're getting left behind. By some miracle, I'm also kept up with you as well.
During all this process, feel free to touch, to customize everything, because that's the way you will learn how to use this tool, right? So, well, as an illustration, look that if you touch the areas, the chart will change. So that's the powerful of Flourish, that users and you will be able to interact with the chart, right? So, well, don't worry of that. We're going to copy the chart. So as I told you, leave it on single chart. Then with this, with height mode, you will be able in the aspect ratio to make it bigger or smaller. So in this case, I'm going to make it 675, right? So that the chart will appear big in the middle of the screen. Then it's very important going to, hold on, colors. This will customize the colors of the chart. So there are several palettes that would be great to use. So if you change the palette of colors, you will be able to change the colors. I'm going to leave this since I really like it. Right? This is very easy. Then the third options I want you to focus your attention is the line, the segments. With the segments, you will be able to make bigger the donut hole. So that's why I told you that feel free to customize your donut. I mean, if I want a bigger donut, I mean, a tiny donut, I make the hole bigger, right? This corner curve will change the curve of each area. Right? Are you following me?
Yes. Other people? How are we doing?
Yep.
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 Great. Okay, let's focus our attention within labels. This is very important, right? Labels shows the area within the chart. In my opinion, enabling this option for me is kind of repetitive since we got the areas on the top. So if you click on show labels on data point, the labels disappear on the chart. So keep in your mind that the chart is interactive. So if you have your mouse in a label, we'll see what area is and also the percentage. So for me, this will perfectly work. So if you want to enable it, you just have to press and you will see what is the name of each area, right? So I'm going to disable it, but also if you decide to enable these options, be aware that you have to click hide overlapping labels, since otherwise, if you make a tiny hole, it's probably that several areas will be overlapping. So I'm going to leave it that way. Next step is number and date formatting. Please, this is very, very, very important. As I told you in the second step, it's very important to clean and solve the mistakes within the Excel file. In this case, we got the Excel file, so it's not needed, but please be aware that into the values, you have to decide whether to use a comma or a point as the separator of your data. I'm going to show you what will happen, what would happen if we won't have the same criteria for all the data. So in our case, we are using points, okay, dots, rather than commas. So if we change here in biology for a comma, look what will change. You see? So it's very important to clean, to see and establish a general criteria for all the data, because otherwise it won't have sense, right? So I'm going to solve it. Now, much better, right?
Alex,
Yeah.
what does it mean? It understood it as if nothing were written instead of a comma? Took the 400?
I mean, if there is a decimal value, you have to unify the criteria. I mean, if you use a dot, use a dot, but you don't need to combine a dot or a comma because the software just read once. So that's the main reason why it is asked to decide what kind of separator you have used within your data, right? Okay, now legend. Legend, it's great, right? This is the legend, the areas, biodiversity, ecology, informatics, in order to interact and play with the chart. So if we disable this option, legend will disappear. In our case, I'm going to leave it in auto or on, it's the same. But with this, as I showed you before, users will be able to choose, for instance, I'm going to leave this area. So this will be easier if someone needs to compare a specific area, right? You will see that this option will make much sense in the second graph we are going to make, since this is easier. So I'm going to leave them on, right? So please put the legend on, right? Also here, you will be able to customize the color. I mean, if you want to change the color of biodiversity, I mean, all the areas, if you press on text color, and I'm going to put it blue, right? It will change. The size would be customized too. You can make it bigger. And now I really encourage you to put a title in order to know what is this legend. So in this case, area. So you will see that an area appears here before all the legend, right? This legend is possible to move to different areas within the chart. If you want to put it vertical, you just have to click on the orientation. But for me, this is not aesthetic at all, since there are a lot of blank space on the top of the chart. But also you can change it between the top or the bottom here in legend position. So I'm going to put it on the bottom of the chart, right? So are you following me? This is what, yeah. Great, Claudia. This are just setup options. So it's very easier. Once you get it, you will see that it's very easier to make charts. Let me close this. Okay, let's focus our attention in another point, that is plot background. This is great if we want to include a background within our chart. So if you click into plot background, you will be able to choose either a color or an image. So I'm going to show you both options. If you click into a color, you see that a color option appears, and you will be able to put a color into the as a background, right? Well, red, it's shiny, so I'm going to put this blue one. You see? I know it's ugly, but I'm going to use an image, as you can see how to upload an image, right? So if you press on, an image URL will appear, so you will be able to upload it from your computer. So I'm going to upload a background from CStrack project. And you will be able to see this as a background, right? Well, and last but not least, we will be able to add either a header and a footer. So I really encourage you to add a title, right? In the header, I'm going to put areas of citizen science in Spain, and a title will appear. You see? Besides here, if you got a logo in your project, you will be able to upload it if you click on enable. So I'm going to allow upload it. It's very easy. You just have to click into the URL. It's the same process as before. So I'm going to upload the CStrack logo. And obviously I'm going to put it on the right since it's closer to the title. You see, now much better. I recommend you to include a footer, in our case, to include the source of this data. So I'm going to put here data from observatory CS Spain, right? So you will see that on the bottom appears the source. You see? So you can add the URL. I got it here, the URL from the informe we use, and I'm going to put it within the test so that users, if they want to learn more about this chart, will be able to know the origin of the data, right? And also you will be able to add a bottom image. In my case, I'm going to enable it to add the disclaimer of the project. So I'm going to upload the EU logo, and you see that appears here, right? And we got the first chart. Are you following me? How are you working on it? How do you feel with this tool?
Should we check with everybody one by one, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Should we start, Claudia? You doing okay? Is it working okay for you?
Yes, it's working fine. You were talking about uploading images. Do they all can they be uploaded, or is it always a matter of specifying a URL?
No, you have to upload it. If you got the URL, you will be able to paste it. So
yeah,
feel free.
That was what I was asking, but you have to upload it somewhere else.
Yeah, because look, hold on.
It doesn't host images, Flourish. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you upload the images, it use this URL. I mean, I guess this create like a folder for all the images. So if you got the link, you will be able to use it.
Okay.
Okay.
But,
Marion, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I just have one question which goes all the way back to the beginning. How did you get actually the terms into your fields? Because I only have numbers.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Firstly, you have to check if you have put the data, I mean the labels into the areas, and then the values into the percentage, right? Otherwise, you won't have something like this.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. That's what I missed at the very beginning.
Okay. Okay. And then if you want to change this, I mean, if you want to to vanish the title, it's here on, hold on, labels, right?
Yeah.
You disable this and this disappear.
Okay.
Shall we check as well? Charmel, how are you doing? You okay?
I came in late, so I'm not sure what's going on here. And what, this is an application to show and manipulate data. So maybe I thought it was going to be something else.
Don't worry, because we are going to repeat the same process. So firstly, you need to log in within Flourish. Let me share the link.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I'm watching. I'm not gonna be able to log in. So that's fine.
And the good news, Charmel, as well, is there's a recording, so you can
exactly. Yes, I'll be able to recap. Thank you.
Okay, Gary, how are you doing? Are you okay?
Yep, just fine.
Yeah,
enjoying it. Yep, thank you.
Good. Okay. Who did I miss? Shireen, how are you doing? You all right?
All is okay. All is okay. Thank you.
Okay, and our project partners, we hope you're doing okay, but you can have a private lesson on this.
I have a question for Alex. So I'm also mostly looking at the shared screen that you present, but I noticed that for the picture, for example, you got it from a URL, but you may have had it in your computer, for example. Could you browse there and find it in your computer?
I browse the image from my computer.
And why are you asked to give a URL?
Where?
I thought that this background, which
no, it's the process. I mean, it is written URL because it upload the image to a website of Flourish, I guess.
Okay.
So look, background plot here. If you press here, I guess you don't see a folder appears, so that I have to choose the image.
Okay, and this is your computer.
Yeah, this is my computer.
Okay.
That's because probably the sharing screen application, right?
Thank you.
Well, now it's very important, once you get the chart, it's very important that on the top of the page, you see that export and publish, right? As I told you, we are working with the free version. So once we press here, publish to share an embed, it will be published, and publish means public, right? So if you want to keep it private, you will have to pay, right? But for me, this will perfectly work. So once you press publish, you will get a link, right, in order to embed into your website, your social networks, so that users will be able to interact with the chart in a website space, right? So as I former mentioned, if they click into the areas, they will be able to customize the pre-visualization they are seeing in their browsers, right? So, well, we are going to do the second one that is a bit complex, but don't worry. So we are going to come back to the house here, and we will come back to the main panel of Flourish. So now we are going to create another visualization. So please click into new visualization, right? And we are going to create a column chart. Is on the first row at the end, right? Column chart. You have to click on it. And this will appear automatically. I mean, these are fake data that Flourish uses, as I told you, just to represent a chart. So the first thing you have to do is to put a title, please. So on the top left, put a title of the chart. In this case, I'm going to put a column chart workshop, right? And now in this case, this is very important, right? Once you go to the data side, you will see that there are more than 2 columns. So because in this chart, represents the information from several years. So we are going to delete them all, right? Remember, Control A, delete, or if you have Mac, Command A, delete. And you see, as I explained you and as I showed you before, if we delete the data, there is no preview, right? Because there is no data. So we need to upload the data. So we are going to come back to our data sheet and we are going to copy the data from the impact one. But please, before copying it, be aware, as you can see, imagine that these are the data you obtain, for instance, from a data set, right? You need to know if these data are properly organized in order to make this chart. With this, I mean that, but let's try. So if we copy this and we paste it within Flourish, you will see that this doesn't have sense. I mean, this is not real because we are trying to represent what is the comparison between several areas and how is the process in different years. So we need to organize the data. So if you look on the bottom of the data set, I mean, I prepared this for you, so don't worry. This table, right, is properly prepared to create a column chart. So we organize the areas and then the years, right? So we are going to copy this part of the Excel file. So you need to keep in your mind that it's really important to organize the data. That's why I really encourage you to develop time looking up your data, right? So we are going to copy and we are going to paste it here, right? Once you copy it, you have to be aware that, look, we are trying to represent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 areas, right? Scientific, educational, till environmental. But our preview just show 4. I mean, it just shows scientific, educational, social, and economic area. We need to modify that. And that's why I told you, you need to focus your attention in the data side. On the right side, you will be able to change what labels and what values are going to be represented within the preview. So in our case, we want to represent the areas. So we modify this, we press into values, and we write here, we delete E obviously, and we write age, right? Once you write here age, you will realize that all the purple area changed and we got the proper preview. Are you okay with this? This is the more complex part.
Feels a little complicated indeed. How's everyone doing?
Got it.
Got it. Okay, great. Great.
The rest, are you okay?
I have a question. When I copied the first, the data in the 4 columns, like the first round of data from the Google Sheet, it looked different to me. The representation looks somewhat better, or it seemed to make sense.
The data from the donut chart or the data from the column chart?
The column chart using scientific, the kind of impact as value.
Yeah, be aware, Claudia, that you have to copy the bottom data, right? Since these ones are not organized properly to represent the data. Have you copied this one?
Yes, I've done both. And copying the data above, it seemed that the representation made sense. So it showed different for me.
And once you copy, please take a look into the labels that need to appear an A and then B to H. It's not the same?
It's a bit different. And the person.
Have you chosen column chart group?
Yes.
Well, let's do something. Let's try to customize, because maybe it's probably an option of the grid mode or a specific option. And then at the end, if you won't resolve it, you can ask me by mail, or you share your screen and we comment how to solve that, right? So once you embed your data, right, and select all the values, as I told you, in our case, in this one, we got plenty of data that can be used in different ways. So if you leave it on single chart, you will see that there are a column chart. But if you change to a grid of charts, you realize that appears. Claudia, is that how appears to you?
Not completely, but similar.
Okay.
Maybe it is because of my laptop.
So the grid of charts is an option, right, that shows you how is the evolution of each area. For me, this view is not clear at all, because users won't be able to interact and to compare the view. So let me show you an example. If you leave into a single chart, you will be able to compare, for instance, scientific and educational. So if you disable this one, you will be able to compare both areas along the time. If you do into a grid of charts, you see that you just see the scientific and educational area. So in this case, feel free to set up as you want, right? I'm going to leave it as a single chart, since I want to see all the areas, right? Then the aspect ratio is the same as before. I'm going to make it bigger, right? And in this case, it's the same as the former one. Colors, you will be able to change the colors, right? I'm going to put it this one, okay? And now this option is really important. The controls and filters. Controls and filters now are off, but with these, users will be able to change the label and filter the content. So let me show you. If you press into a single select, you see that the label will change, and you will be able to select just a single area, so that you will see how this area evolves along the time. You see? Political, technological. But from my point of view, I consider this as less important as the multi-select, since the multi-select, look, multi-select allow one option, you see, enter series to show. Users will be able to filter the data and to compare not only each area, but also the general chart. So let's compare, for instance, scientific and social. So users will see these charts, and if they want to come back to the general preview, they just have to close the filter. You see, so I really encourage you to use the multi-select. Moreover, in this case, I recommend you to put the border, you see here the border, in red, so that it changes and it will be easy to be seen for the users, right? Are you following me? I know this is more complex than the other one. Fine, great. The same as before, you need to take care with the number and data formatting, since if you decide to use dots, you need to keep in your mind that in the whole data sets, pods are used. You cannot combine between dots and commas because I made a mistake here. So you see environmental, I put a comma. So look, environmental percentage here. So you see that properly reading my data, you see it appears 50 seats instead of 5 seats. So we have to change that. So we go to our matrix and we put dot. And now it changed. That's why it's really important to clean and look the data before creating any kind of chart, right? Well, the plot background and the header and footer is the same, right? So feel free to customize it as you want. So plot background, if you press on, I'm going to put this. You will be able to upload an image too. If you want, you have to press on and select from your laptop, right? And I'm going to set a title in header, title, impact of CS areas in Spain. Okay, Claudia, now much better. I see in the chat. Okay, that's why I mean I made that mistake in order to realize why it's important to clean the data and to put the great values. So great. I'm going to upload the CS track logo and I'm going to move to the last part of the workshop, right? I'm going to put the footer the same. Observatory CS citizen science in Spain, right? You see it appears on the bottom here, right? You will be able to change the position of the label, right? If you click into labels, sorry, into where is it? Legend, sorry, in the legend, you will be able to put it on the top, on the bottom, right? Okay, so I got my second chart, right? So I'm going to publish and to include them on the story, and we will share it our results. So I'm going to press here, publish, and we are going to come back to the house, right? As I told you, the second product of Flourish is a story. The story is super easy because one, you get the visualization, you will be able to embed into a presentation. So I'm going to add a basic slide and put a report CS result. Results, right? On the left side at the bottom, you will be able to add a new slide and choose a visualization. So I'm going to choose the visualization I created before. Column chart, and it will appear, you see. I'm going to do the same. Left side, choose visualization, and workshop area. So you see, it's like a PowerPoint presentation, right? Here, if you will be able, if you want to upload an image, I'm going to change it. You just have to press here and press here. It's the same process. Okay, and that's all. Remember, put a name in the story, right? I'm going to put Alex presentation. This is very easy, right? If you want, you can customize this. I mean, here, if you enable this, you will be able to set, right, a time for each slide. But I don't recommend you this. But if you enable this, on the right side, you see duration. There are 5 seconds. So once you publish, it will change automatically, right? So I'm going to publish. And I obtain my presentation. So this is as a PowerPoint. Look what would happen. Right? It changed. And the great point of this is that you will be able to embed this into a website or into a blog or social media. So now I would like to see if you are make this. I'm going to paste a Padlet, right? A Padlet is like a panel, and you got the link. Oh, sorry. Now you got the link within the chat, right? So if you click on the Padlet on the right side, you got a bottom. So you have to click here, put a title. I'm going to put presentation from Alex. And I'm going to copy, right, the link from the story, this one, right? Copy this one and paste it within the link here. So that all we see what you have done. Are you okay with this?
Maybe what we can do, Alex, while people are posting, is because time is getting very short. We are down to the last couple of minutes of our allocated time here. So maybe while people are posting them, which is lovely, we could have a chance to discuss how they got on, whether they see this as a useful tool, and the importance of using images in this kind of communication, if that's okay with you.
Yep.
Claudia is in there, Alex is there, Begoña is there. What do you think of it? I'm looking around at our visitors, our participants. Shireen, Gary, Claudia, Marion.
Sally, they are asking for the recording then.
Sure, there will be a link to the recording, Shireen, but not for another 2 weeks, as I understand.
Okay, thank you.
So we
Really, I would like to share my feedback. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Sure, no, go ahead.
Yeah, it's really a good tool to use, and I imagine me applying using it. It's kind of an easy one to present simple data for public users. So yeah, it's really not hard to use.
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Thank you.
I didn't mention before, but you got, well, we prepare like a tutorial as an interactive chart. It's a geniality. You got it on the chart. So let me show you. This is like a summarize of everything I explained you. So you will be able to play with this and follow more slowly all I explain you. I know that this is a huge task, and I explained you a lot of information. So here you will be able to follow up all the process. You see the obtaining data, screening, and setting the visualization, and see some examples that we are currently doing. So feel free to interact with it. And if you are lost or you need to solve any doubt, please do not hesitate to contact Begoña or me, and we will be happy to help you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Hold on, where is the Padlet? I would like to see the results here.
I have another question. I actually hoped to see something where the data is actually calculated and then put into a chart. So here you have already your data, you put it in, and then you work with the charts. Is there a way that you put raw data in, which then is calculated and then goes into the chart?
What do you mean with data calculated?
Yeah, for example, you put in the percentage already as a number. What if you have a spreadsheet where this percentage first has to be calculated and then put, so a step prior to
raw data, you're saying just you have
really
raw
raw
data?
data, yeah.
I mean, you have, let me explain you how we work. Our partners for other work packages gave us the data from a database that is refined. So they gave us the data in an Excel file. So we upload the Excel file within the application. So firstly, before uploading it, we take a look into the data because we need to split into columns and to clean a bit the data. Because sometimes, you know, in a spreadsheet, sometimes the data are together in a column, and all the values are separated by commas, for instance. So it's necessary to use an Excel software just to clear this data and to spread them all into different columns. So that's why I really insist in developing time in organizing the data.
Alex?
Yes?
May I comment on that? I think Marion intended maybe also to another thing, if I may, Marion.
Sure, please.
The question is the extent to which this tool has itself calculation capabilities. In other words, if you do all your data preparation, say, for example, you have levels and you want percentages of change, or everything else, whether you have to do this in the outside, for example, in Excel, and then to bring the data in ready. Or alternatively, if I understood the question, can you bring raw data inside and then make the calculations in Flourish? Is it possible?
The calculation as additions, no, I think no.
Okay, so you have to work in Excel, for example, and to make sure that you have what you need, and then you bring it to the tool.
That is.
Okay, thank you.
I mean,
I have a question as well.
Yeah, so hold on, Dobby. I mean, you will be able to interact with the chart, and if there is more values, users will be able to combine them to change the representation. But there is no possible just to use how did you mention the for instance an addition. You have to clean the data before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, Dobby.
That's all right. I have a question regarding, so if I posted my story here on the Padlet, and if I decide that I want to change something and I change it in Flourish, would I need to post another link, or will it be automatically updated?
You have to republish it, right? So if you change the visualization, look. Hold on. Let's come back to this. You see that this is published, right? It's green. So if I change, I don't know, this one, you see it's now orange, so you have to republish. But the link is the same.
So the old one will go away. It will no longer go.
Yeah. So just to show you something very quickly, we use the code and we embed on our website. So in our case, in the magazine, you see, for instance, this one. So those are made with Flourish and are embedded within the website. In this case, within the graphical article. Do you have more comments? How do you feel with the tool? It's easier to use? It's easy to use?
Just coming to the end of our allocated time, and I know that people need to move on to other sessions.
Just one.
Ruma, yeah, if you could make it short, Ruma.
Of course, very short, because sorry for my voice. I just write it down here in the chat so you can see it. Just theoretically, how it is connected to everything that we are doing here with visualization and the citizen science community. I think we should look at it as something of learning a new language, which is very important, is really how we present our data to be able to communicate it to others and discuss them. So that's my main point. And for this, I think it's a wonderful tool, very easy to be used. And there is a lot to deep in and to look at. Thank you.